Oh, no way.
It's like the same.
Oh,
It's
wow.
12 by 12. You can see like the paint marks. One, they're kin. They're related.
The lovely Ben Savage with me. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just drink some coffee.
I'm with you on the coffee, man. Even though it's 7 o'clock here, it's all relative. So jumping into, all about kin. So I hear that this is like a sequel to The Valley. If, The Valley was the part one, what was it that you wanted to kind of say in part two that's kin?
The Valley, we wrote the music before the story.
Okay.
So with this new album, we like kind of knew what kind of route we wanted to like take it, just kind of dive into it more because it's a dense story. So we wanted to, kind of touch musically on just like all like the different just the shades, like the just the it's like it's kind of theatrical in a way. So we tried to just get real try to lift the story as much as we can musically, like have those like softer parts kind of lead into the bigger sections, and adds more drama to the music. We knew we didn't know what Phil was going to write about. We just knew it was going to be along that sort of path that he touched on in the Valley. Well, he told the whole story of his childhood in the Valley, so we didn't know what he was going to write about, so we just kind of wrote the music as what we wanted to hear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like after Doomwoods, the last track on the Valley, like that was the hardest part, just trying to think of something like, okay, what's this next album going to sound like, because it kind of laid it all out on the line on the last one. So once we started writing, and we came up with the started writing the riff to, or came up with the idea to I Will Find You, and that kind of like got the ball rolling for like songs. So once we wrote that song, that felt like, okay, I could hear that coming after Doomwoods. Like that sounds like it fits. It's like the obvious next. It's like no brainer. So after that, the songs kind of started falling into place. We wanted more more soundscape, so we just kind of like pass. We didn't pass on like riffs that were too like didn't sound like what Whitechapel would sound like. We kind of like embraced just different melodies, and we tried stuff that we weren't afraid to try. And then once we wrote the music, we sequenced it out how we'd want to hear it, like musically first, and then like from track 1 to track 10, or track 11, and then Phil wrote the lyrics to the music in a linear fashion, like starting from track 1 to the end. So that gave it more of a a storybook concept. It's like you're opening a book or pressing play on a movie, and you just listen to it from beginning to end. Whereas the Valley was short stories, short true event stories. This is a whole entire concept. Starting from the beginning is the Phil leaving the Valley, and then the internal struggles that he was dealing with as a teenager, and it then ends to this epic battle and track 10, and then it recedes into track 11, the final track. So there's a beginning, a middle, and end. The world beyond the surface of our minds, where absolute truth won't vanish from our eyes. Let the spirit divide our mortal sins and pride.
What would you say is kind of your own interpretation of the album's title, Kin?
well, as the Valley was a true event, since like real world, horrors, like tangible things that happened. Kin is the flip side. It's like, I feel like it's the sister album. This is all happening internally, to Phil inside his head. It's a manifestation of, an evil self and his real reality. And I kind of take it as like more of an analytical stance, like like philosophers or psychologists like Carl Jung and Ken Wilber, who talk about the shadow self, and like in child, if something happened traumatically in your childhood, or at one point in life, like something doesn't transcend, to the next evolution, next stage in your life, and something is kept back from growing, and that kind of like I see that as kind of like the shadow self. It's but Phil takes it more I guess more fantasy, like rather than dealing with the mental illness aspect. It's more of like takes that and it's like turns the identities into like real people, for the sake of storytelling. And
I think it's great though, because it, like you say, it's got that, obviously you've got the two heads, and I think almost the tone of the blue is very like dreamlike, and you're not kind of sure if it's sort of real, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like because blue's like the rarest color in nature, so we're dealing with internal struggles, so it's like kind of the blue gives a more like celestial, surreal vibe to it. And it's also blue's kind of the opposite of red as the Valley.
Yeah, that's true.
So, the dots kind of resemble like the Valley, because the Valley looks kind of, the clouds look a little pixelated too. So.
Yeah. There's so many different sounds that are on this record, man, like from a guitar perspective especially.
Yeah, well, a big influence was this I saw a band, Humphreys McGee, or like a jam band,
okay,
from Chicago, and they're like, I would say they're the heaviest jam band there is. I mean, their guitarist Jake, he loves Meshuggah and King Crimson and Deftones and stuff. So you could kind of hear that heaviness in the playing, but they're a jam band, so they play stuff like reggae too, and like they're kind of all over the map. Like seeing them live, it's a whole nother animal. Like I wouldn't listen to them on Spotify, but I would just see them live or listen to a concert. Just stuff like that is just a real big influence on my guitar playing. Definitely on the lead guitar aspect, like it helped with getting weaving in different guitar parts and stuff, making it sound fluid and not forced. Actually got a guitar lesson from Jake Sinninger.
Oh, no way.
Right before a week or two before I recorded leads, just to get, just like, okay, I want my leads to sound like his, like my opinion, like one of the best guitar players out there now. I really like his cascading melodies. He says he does like odd bundles of like notes, and it kind of sounds like it's just like falling. So I definitely wanted that in there, because just kind of complement the the story, because it's kind of, you're falling into yourself, you're falling into consciousness. It's like particleizing, and just it's like that. And the leads and acoustics and like layers and overdubs are written or recorded after vocals. So so I could definitely get more like conceptual with the music during those parts, those expressive lead moments. So
okay. What would you say is your kind of your favorite moment of Kin that you remember, like tracking, or like, you know, like your favorite sort of memory of the time?
The intro to "I Will Find You." I think once we nailed that down, I was like, because it was so hard to get it right. Um, yeah, it just took a lot of trial and error, just like especially with the high picking stuff, just to get the melodies correct on it, because we knew it was going to be the intro to the album. So we just worked really hard to get that right. And when we finally did, uh, yeah, that was a good moment.
I meant to ask earlier on, actually, you know, with the actual artwork, I saw that someone pointed it out that if you flip it on its head, it's like a devil inside. Was that
Yeah.
intentional? Was that like a happy accident?
No, it was intentional.
Oh,
From
cool.
we wanted it, to that was the hardest part, was finding these faces that could kind of there's something more to it, that
Yeah.
didn't just seem like two people looking at each other, but it seemed like two like spirits, or you know otherworldly beings that could be anybody. Um, so once we came upon that, and then you could kind of see the devil in there. Jill took it and kind of made it exaggerated it a bit more to make it look more like the horns are more spiky, and the foreheads go in, kind of creating like a jawline.
Yeah.
Uh, but it also relates to the shadow, the evil, like lurking. I'm looking at it right now, so I'm like,
Oh, really? Oh, is that?
yeah, yeah.
Is it quite big, the one that you've got, or is it
No,
pretty?
it's
Oh, no way.
it's like the same.
Oh,
It's
wow.
12 by 12. You can see like the paint marks.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah,
No way.
yeah,
And yeah, you can see the pointillism and everything. Yeah,
yeah. The point, they're one. They're kin. They're
yeah.
related.
This was also the first album with Alex Rudinger in the band. So
Yeah,
what was that like? You know, kind of finally bringing him into the fold, because I know he's been playing with you guys since 2019. Is that right?
yeah. It was great because we'd write music, and just have our simple like drum program parts,
Mm-hmm.
and then you send it to him, and he'd make it sound like incredible. Like he's super professional, and he's scholared in that aspect. And when the studio time comes too, he's completely prepared, ready to go. It gave us time afterwards, like, because we were in this big drum studio, and so he got done early, so I could like actually record acoustic guitars in the same studio, so it still had great acoustics.
What for you does, you know, Kin mean to you personally, like as an album?
I don't know, it's like everything musically, like that for me I've wanted to accomplish, in our career. The soft, inviting, beautiful sounds, to like the heavy, crushing, just cathartic, weight. Um, I just wanted to embody all of that, and just kind of just feel like threaded together.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, it's definitely the most varied record, the most like daring record that you guys have created. So, like, really, hats off, man. You know, I couldn't be more stoked as a fan.
Awesome, thank you. We didn't want to disappoint the fans, because I know they loved the Valley and the story. So it's like, you gotta we would want something that we would want to listen to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you ever so much for you know, taking the time to chat. I know you're a busy dude, so I really appreciate it, man.
Oh, thanks, Tris. Appreciate the time and listening, and the years of support.
Of course.